Score tonight.
It was 2-0. Oh, okay. Oh, what's going on, everybody? And welcome back to Vinny's Corner. I'm your host, Vinny, and that is my co-host, Cove. What's going on, everybody? How's everyone doing tonight? So this week on the show, we do have a couple of things. Obviously, we've got the NBA and the NHL playoffs. In addition to that, we've also got the NFL draft tomorrow. And as you can see by Cove's hat, it is baseball season, Major League Baseball. He's got his KC hat on. As you guys may or may not know, I am a Yankees fan. And so, as always, we'll stop around a little bit and talk some baseball at some point or other there too. Kind of the regular things that we do here in Vinny's Corner. And guys, just for those who are curious, I'm working out some of the kinks just because like Apple Podcasts is a little confusing. I'm a little older. I don't know how to use everything right, but I've now got like the audio recordings of my podcast starting to come out as well, in addition to the YouTube. So going forward after this week, you'll be able to listen to Cove and I on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Just got to get my technical help there a little bit. So we're almost there, which is pretty awesome. So as usual, guys, it is I like to start out just kind of giving you guys a rundown on what's going on the fights. But we have a lot to talk about in other sports today, so I'm not going to go too crazy with it. I did just want to highlight, if you're a UFC fan, one of the fighting nerds, you probably know there's 4 of them in the UFC, but Carlos Prates is fighting this week against Ian Machado Gary, and that's going to be a dope card. It's a UFC fight night or in Kansas City, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So that should be a really good one. Definitely check it out. I will be watching. And I don't know if you heard, but Jake Paul is back in the boxing world as usual. Excuse me. But he is going to be fighting, and this is actually like a semi-real fight. He's fighting a former champion who's under the age of 40 and who is the son of, top 10 all-time GOAT in boxing, Julio Cesar Chavez. He's fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., who is 39, so he's not a spring chicken, but this should be a little bit more of a test for him. I'm assuming this is going to be a real fight since, this is counting against his official boxing record. But so did Mike Tyson. So, I'll let you guys kind of ponder on that one. And as you know, I'll always have that in like the middle of all my questions and sports random stuff on my page. I will also put out, what's going on for MVP promotions, WBC, WBO, WBA, IBF, all the boxing bodies, and of course the UFC. Now, with that being said, just a quick update here before we jump into – where did I go? Before we jump into this NFL draft stuff and we give out our top 10 picks, for those folks who are following the NBA playoffs, the Thunder are now up 2-0 in the series. In the first 2 games, they've won by a combined total of 72 points. I've got a strong feeling this will be John Morant's last season in Memphis. I don't really know what they were thinking when they fired Jenkins, but it should be an interesting one. The Lakers tied it up with the Timberwolves yesterday, so that series is all tied at 1-1. The Rockets are they're down 1-0 to the Warriors. They're going to look to tie it up tonight if they can, but we'll see what happens. The Warriors are pretty good. The Cavs are destroying the Heat right now and getting ready to go up 2-0 in the series. The Pacers are already up 2-0 against the Bucks. There's a little bad blood going on between Tyrese Halliburton and Dame Lillard in that series too. So it's kind of fun to watch. My Knicks, it's 1-1, but the reality is that we've probably played better basketball for 1 out of 8 quarters total than the Pistons have. In the game the other night, our number 2 player, Karl Anthony Towns, former Timberwolf, he only had 3 shots in the entire second half. He's an all-star. Excuse me, I'm getting the hiccups, but he's an all-star, and moreover, he averages 24 points a game. So having him not produce for a whole second half, you kind of see what the results are. No good. Left one out on the West. The Clippers and the Nuggets are tied 1-1. Kawhi Leonard looking like Kawhi Leonard out there. The Clippers could be the dark horse in the West. If Kawhi stays healthy, the way he's playing on both sides of the ball is just absolutely phenomenal. And then last but not least, the Celtics are playing the Magic right now. I'm going to go check that score real quick because I don't know what it is. But I'm going to assume that the Celtics are winning. I'm just going to assume because, 107. Okay. The Celtics are getting ready to go up 2-0. It's 30 seconds left. They're up by 9 points, 107-98. So, a little bit of an update there for you. Courtney said she keeps getting Jake Paul and Logan Paul confused. That's probably because one of them's WWE and one of them's, quote, a boxer, but really both their fights are scripted. So, it can be hard to tell. Don't feel bad.
I get those guys confused all the time.
You know what? I like Logan Paul better because at least everyone knows the WWE is scripted. There's no confusion about what's going on. But Jake Paul's been coming out, he makes it like he's some big boxer. He's fought a bunch of MMA guys who are between 40 and 58, 60 years old. So now at least he's getting to somebody who's in their 30s. But again, Jason Tatum is on the Celtics. The Orlando Tragic are still losing. Of course, you're right. Great name, by the way, the Orlando Tragic. I like that. But again, so it is easy to get those guys confused. Jake and Logan, they could be twins for all I know. But, just wanted to give you guys that little update. And now we're more on to Cove side of the world. NHL. So in the hockey world, Winnipeg has looked great, actually. They're 2-0 against the Blues so far. The Stars and the Avs, I think, have game. Do they have game 3 tonight? They might.
Yeah.
That's a really good game. Two teams from the West Central. Vegas, VGK looked amazing in game 1. In game 2, not so much.
The Wild came back like strong on that one.
Dude, 5-2. They dominated the first period so hard. It just like there was very little that you could do there, The Kings and the Oilers. The Kings looked amazing against the Oilers. They completely shut them down for the first half of that game. The Oilers did get back into it. I believe it was a 6-5 game. I think they have a game tonight as well. So that should be a good one to check out. Right now, unless something has changed in the last minute or two, and I'll check for everybody, but it looks like the Capitals they got about 2 minutes left, but the Capitals are up 2-1 right now and looking to go up 2-0 in the series against the Habs, the Montreal Canadiens. So, that's a pretty good one. And then actually, a couple of these series are looking to kind of get out of hand quick. The Canes have just been putting the work to the Devils. It's 2-0 series as well. And the all Canada games, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Ottawa Senators, right? Toronto's, doing exactly what they should be doing and what's expected of a team that's been that good all year. So,
yeah, but they almost lost to Ottawa the other night, though. 3-2 in OT. It was close. Ottawa could have tied that series up.
I don't expect to see anyone. Maybe let me start over. The Blues may get swept by the Jets. That is possible. But yes. I don't really expect to see anyone else. Like the Lightning and the Panthers. The Lightning are down 1-0 right now. But these are pretty competitive matches. The Caps and the Canadians, I don't know.
It's pretty one-sided. It's extremely one-sided. When you look at the Capitals being one of the best teams in the league, the Canadians kind of just squeaking themselves in there. The Canadians, if the Canadians come back from this series, it'll be a hell of an improvement. But it's kind of like their backs against the wall.
They've played tough all season. I wouldn't expect them to get into the series, but I did think that maybe they'd have a win not get swept. It would be pretty bad if we saw 2 or 3 sweeps in the first round of the NHL playoffs. The NHL is usually super competitive. So,
First round, not so much. There is usually 2 or 3 sweeps in the first round. It usually
but
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know better than me. I'm not going to argue with Cove on that one. But I guess we're going to see what happens. It does look like, this is what's tough about hockey, right? Like there's a minute left in the third period of this Caps game, and I'm still just looking to make sure like the game didn't get tied up because it happens so quickly in hockey, But
I'll use an example. Vancouver was playing Dallas with a minute to go, down 3. They were down 3 goals. They ended up tying it and then winning in overtime. They scored 3 goals in a minute to tie it up.
bro, and that's what can happen.
So you get the right momentum, right shot, right angles, bam, bam, bam. It could happen.
Makes total sense, man. It makes total sense.
Do you not remember? Let's just go back for a second. Do you remember a few years ago, Vegas had like San Jose like a stranglehold, then the hit, and then Vegas choked the game because the hit.
Notice how I'm wearing the Vegas Golden Knights shirt, right? He's loving that right now. Yes, I do. I do recall. Listen, I mean, hopefully, and I think that this goes for both the NBA and the NHL playoffs. We haven't seen great competition yet. We've seen that the really good teams are like super dominant. So, it'll be exciting to see what the second round looks like. I think that's the easiest way to say it, right?
The second round, the way the matchups are, which how I have my brackets, will be more. I think will be more competitive hockey. Like I said, you'll see a lot more. I'll say 2 or 3 sweeps for sure. There's not going to be. I don't think there's going to be any game sevens in the first round. And the next round is where you're going to see everybody go 5 or 6 for sure.
What I'm really like for me, and obviously we're not there yet, but the West matchups, I really want to see the LA Kings and the Vegas Golden Knights. I want to see that series, and I really want to see the Winnipeg Jets and the Dallas Stars. Like that's
what's more likely going to happen. But then when, like I said, you look at those 4 matchups, those are going to be competitive series.
Oh, those will be great series. Those are Game 7 type series. Those are good series right there.
But when you have Toronto going up against, because like if Washington goes through, I think Carolina's going to go through. So you Washington and Carolina, that's going to be a close series. But Toronto, if Florida gets through, I think Toronto's going to get wiped out by Florida. I don't think Toronto has a chance against Florida at all.
Toronto's been so good all season. You think they're a sham?
They're always they usually are a round 1 exit. They've been like that since 2013.
They're like the Milwaukee Brewers of hockey.
Yeah, and they're just getting luck because they got the Senators.
Well, yeah,
they're gonna get through the Senators now. I believe they will get through the Senators this time. But the Battle of Ontario, you look at it, it's usually Ottawa that beats them. So,
dude, if they lost, if Ottawa came back in that series, that would be amazing. But it would just be like that would just be bad. Like Toronto was the 1 seed, aren't they?
Yeah, 1 seed in the Atlantic, yes, but they're gonna have to go against Florida, and because I don't think Tampa's gonna take Florida out because Florida's got their number, but Florida is the back-to-back, Eastern Conference champions, defending Stanley Cup champions. You cannot count out Florida. So,
a lot of people don't like. I feel like a lot of people, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but a lot of people like Florida had some rough patches this season, right? Yeah. And I feel like some people try to like count them out, but I mean, they've got some of the players on that team are just outstanding players. And I mean, of course, you never know. But I think Reinhard, Barkov are both awesome. And if Bobrovsky gets to that level, like,
Yeah, Bob
you know what
Rossi
I
always
mean?
gets that level. We were talking about him last year, all last playoffs. Like, but here's the thing: they had Kachuk out for a while, and now Kachuk's in, and Kachuk last year showed he's a playoff kid. He loves the playoffs, and he can show up in the playoffs. So if Kachuk gets hot and Bob Rossi gets hot, there's no stopping Florida from possibly being a third time Eastern Conference champion.
You know, it would be like, I don't, okay, for me, anything besides the Capitals coming out of the East, and I'm going to be pissed. That's what I want to see. I want to see Ovechkin in the finals.
Yeah,
Like, that's the only way I can. It's the easiest way I can say. That team has just been like, they've been all action this season. Very physical.
yeah.
And obviously Ovechkin is just a goal scoring machine. Who doesn't want to see an all time great? Play in the Stanley Cup final. So that would be the way I'd like to see it. But again, you're right. You're right. The Panthers could absolutely make it to a third final and a third Stanley Cup, which wouldn't be surprising. Wouldn't be surprising at all. You
But
know,
but now that I'm looking at it, like the way it's setting up, it's going to be a cat bowl for the Eastern Conference Finals. I have Panthers versus Canes.
Panthers versus Canes. No way.
Yeah,
Okay, hold on. I got to look at this bracket real quick. Wait, Panthers versus the Canes.
yeah.
Oh, I would be so disappointed if the Canes knocked out the Capitals. Let me just say that. If the Capitals put on a sweep in the first round, and they very well may, they're already up 2-0, but
Yeah.
um,
But I have the
if
Canes possibly sweeping out New Jersey too. Like New Jersey's just falling apart.
New
So
Jersey looks
like,
terrible,
yeah.
they look
So
terrible.
the Carolina's gonna like hurricane right through New Jersey, and they'll be ready for the Canes. The Canes will be ready for the Capitals. That's gonna be a great series. Like I don't see that one going that series for sure for Capitals and Canes. That's gonna be a 6-7 game series. That's gonna be a dogfight.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's that's a really. I mean, Martinuk looks awesome. Like Martinuk's got 3 goals already, or 3 points, excuse me, and Stankoven's got 2 goals already in that series. And Anderson, I mean, Anderson's goals against average is 1
Yeah.
in the postseason as of right now.
Yeah.
So like, the
See,
Canes.
Anderson's playing next level. He was hurt. He was sick. He was tired. People counted him out because he's a former Leafs goalie. Everybody keeps counting him out, but I think Anderson's finally starting to show that he's there to win and he can win.
Oh, I mean, he looks like it. He does look like it right now. No question about that.
And I'll go back 10, 15 years ago. Jonathan Quick, people counted him out because he was that kind of not that caliber player. And then he won, what, 2 championships in 3 years? And he had one of the best, like, playoffs I've ever seen. The Cinderella series when LA Kings just came out of nowhere as eighth and just walked over everybody because Jonathan Quick was ready. Same thing as when Corey Crawford did it way back then with Chicago. When you have a caliber player that's ready to show up, especially as a goaltender, I'll use Jordan Bennington in
Bennington's a great
2019.
example.
He brought the Blues from nothing to a championship. Like, so when you have goalies that just show up like that, there's no stopping them.
Dude, it's funny that you went to Bennington because, like, as you were describing Anderson in my mind, I was like,
Jordan
Bennington.
Bennington, yeah.
That's exactly who I was thinking of, and that's
But
that's a really
Bennington
good
is
comparison.
not gonna be Bennington that you saw earlier this year, like with Team Canada, stuff like that. It's just the Blues just don't have it in them to get past that series.
Well, I mean, the Jets are a really tough team. I mean, the West as a whole is a meat grinder, right? But the Jets
Yeah.
have a really high-powered offense. They're just an all-around good squad. So, that's going to be a tough one. You're right. We could see maybe half these series be sweeps, which would be like, I don't know. I mean, it's exciting for somebody. For me, it's like a little much, but
Yeah.
as long as you get like
I'm
overtime.
not counting out Vegas for being dominant as they are, but you also got to remember this is Marc Andre Fleury. You got you got Flower. Flower's gonna win or go home because this is his last year. And when the Flower turns it on, you
Well,
know,
and the second half of the season, like Vegas has had some real dominant periods, but they've had a lot of up and down this season, excuse me. So they really need to strap in and like to make it through like, okay, they beat the Wild. They have either the Oilers or the Kings. Like you have
yeah.
to be on your A game. Like to get to the finals, you have to be absolute A game to come out of the West.
But you know this from the past. Marc Andre Fleury, before he went to Chicago, before he went to the Wild, he was in Vegas, and
It's a fact.
Vegas got rid of him for a draft pick. So this could be a revenge for him. He's like, you know what? You got rid of me, Vegas, and it's my last year. I'm gonna make you pay for this.
And that's the thing is like obviously it depends on the sport, it depends on the player, but a lot of players, especially like specifically in the NHL, when you look at a lot of guys like top level talent, their last seasons, like some of these guys really put on.
Yeah.
So, it's not like a shock what we're seeing, I wouldn't say by any means in his goaltending, but again, I mean, we're going to see. I would love to see us get out of this series early and not let them stretch it out to a 6 or a 7 game series. But the way that they came out last night, that's a dangerous team. They scored a lot of goals. They scored fast, so.
And when Flowers on point, Flowers on point.
That
He
is a
might be
fact.
near 40 years old, but he's been to the Cup 5 times in his career.
Yeah,
He's got 3 cups himself. Like he just knows how to he knows how to win.
that is a fact. All right. So kind of moving along, we're going to get to our draft picks here in a few, but as you guys can see, my guy Cove does have his Kansas City Royals hat on. So, it would be a shame for us to not talk some baseball, right? And as you know, I am a Yankees fan, right? I've actually been making other people Yankees fans this season. People who don't watch baseball, I got them watching baseball just for the Yankees, and they're not even from New York. I love that. Keep doing the good thing. So my Yankees had a good win today against Cleveland, but they had a bad loss to Cleveland yesterday. Just kind of looking at the standings, you got the Yankees in first at 15-10, the Tigers at first 15-10, the Rangers at first 14-9. Then in the National League's looking pretty motley right now. The Mets are 18-7. They've got a commanding first place lead, 5 games over the Phillies. The Cubs have really taken off. They're definitely not the second best team, but they're moving it along. They're up there. They're 16-10, right? So they're a couple of games ahead of the Brewers. The NL West to me is the one that's like, wow, look at this. You got the San Diego Padres at 17-8. You got the Dodgers at 16-9. San Francisco's at 15-9, and then even the Diamondbacks are at 14-9. So for the first 4 teams, from first place to 4th place, there's only a 2-game spread. So you know what I mean? To me, that's intense. I expected to see the NL West look this good, but I don't know. I think that maybe not this good. I expected the Dodgers to look this good. I expected the Dodgers to be in first. I expected the Padres to be a couple games behind them, but that whole division just looked. I mean, save the Rockies, they look pretty motley right now.
Oh man, the Rockies are just. Ugh.
Rockies
We
are
thought
like
Chicago. We all thought like the White Sox were just not going to pick up from last year. They really haven't, even though some people think they have. Like, what are they? Four? Were they 5-15?
5-18.
Okay, 5-18. Yeah. So yeah. So
They've got more wins than the Rockies.
yes, they do. But are you really surprised that the White Sox are 5-18? Not really.
No, I wouldn't say so. Probably for me, the biggest surprise right now is the Minnesota Twins are 8-15, and and
Yeah.
maybe not the biggest. The biggest surprise is probably the Atlanta Braves, but
Yeah. The
at
Braves
eight
are the
and
biggest one.
fifteen, the Braves, like I mean, the Braves have 10 wins, so
Yeah.
like they're not terrible, but 10 wins in the NL East is last place.
Yes, but remember they were 0-9 or 0-8.
Yeah,
You got
so
to look at where they started.
they look a lot better, no question about it. In
They
their
have
last,
improved.
let's see, in their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, in their last 9 games, they're 6-3.
Yeah, and like I said,
So
and they started like they were like 1-8 in the first 9.
yeah,
So
I mean,
this is night to day with them, right? They finally figured it out. Acuna finally showed up, but you know everybody was counting out the Braves last week, like, oh, the Braves are so horrible, but now the Braves are starting to win again. So I wouldn't count them out. Once they get healthy, they'll be good. They did lose Strider again, so that's gonna be interesting.
let me ask you, how is your guy? Because you got the hat on. How's Bobby
Yeah.
Witt performing so far this season?
A lot of their games, like I've been watching a lot of their games this year because I've had more time this year to watch baseball. And Bobby Witt's performing like Bobby Witt. He's always there. He's defensively there. He's actively there. Like he's getting the hits when they need to get the hits. He's getting the runs when they need to get the hits. Now they have 9 wins, but they had that nice 6-game losing streak because they met the Tigers and the Yankees last week. So got the double sweeps, but I mean, it is. And we still have Rogan. Like Rogan, he's had 4 starts. The first 3 starts, he had 10 plus Ks in his first 4 starts. So like Rogan's pitching well. They're getting up there. They were, and the fun fact that I forgot about last year that it was when they had 6-game losing streaks. They had it twice last year. They followed it up with another with a 6-game win streak right after. They don't lose that much often.
Okay, it makes sense. He's doing all right. He's not too high in he's not one of the leaders in batting stats at this point. He's like 25th or 26th.
Yes, but he has the best batting average since 2014 over Judge. I saw that
Okay,
stat when he was watching Colorado.
let's
No,
not
no,
get crazy. Let's
no, no,
not
no.
get
They did.
crazy.
They did. They did. They put him in a 375 since 2024. Since the start of 2024, he has a 375 batting average, and Judge had like a 370. So it's
So the
not much,
the
but they
current
had Bobby Witt.
leader, the current leader in
Yes, current
batting,
in this season, yes.
and
I'm not
listen,
doubting Judge at all this season. Judge is
Judge is
phenomenal this
Judge
season.
is batting 411 right now. Yes,
Yeah,
that's right, Yankees fans. He's batting 411. But
yeah.
that
I'm just
is
saying,
not
during
what
the game, I was watching the Colorado game last night, and I didn't know this, but they did put Bobby Witt as a 375 since the beginning of 2024. For some
let me
reason, they
tell
put
you.
that stat, but Judge had a 370 average since then. So Judge is batting better this season, yes. 100%. There's no doubt about that. The guy cranked off what, 7 home runs in his first 8 games or whatever. So he's on fire. But you were asking me about Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt's got a high 300 average in the last year. So they're putting a lot of focus on him to turn this team around.
Yeah, I mean, he's still batting over 300 right now. Don't get me wrong. He's batting
Yeah.
308. So it's not like he's not performing, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you though, this for me, right, as a Yankees fan, and really I think as a baseball fan, the one that's been a really pleasant surprise for me this season is Paul Goldschmidt.
hmm
he's been awesome for us. Like there's no other way to say it. I mean, he's batting 371 on the season right now. So
Mhm.
it's been fantastic. And the Mets got Pete Alonso up in the top 6, batting 349. But so there's some good stuff going on. Judge actually has over a 500 on base percentage, and
Oh
that
yeah,
was my
no,
hot
Judge is
take of
just
the season.
on fire. I
Judge
mean,
is going to.
the biggest thing that they are talking about right now, and we're a year away from it, is the WBC. And the two names they did talk about for Team USA is putting Bobby Witt Jr. next to Aaron Judge, and Aaron Judge is excited to have Bobby Witt Jr. on his team.
Oh, dude, it's going to be outrageous. It's going to be
Yeah,
outrageous. No question about it.
yeah,
These guys can play ball.
yeah.
It's been this season. And as I was saying to you before we jumped on, like I thought the Yankees would be doing a little bit better than they are. And like, they're doing well, but when they lose, like we have some painful losses, like it gets me worked up. Did you see the play last weekend? Freed had a no-hitter going, okay?
Yes.
Into the 8th inning, I believe it was. And they came back and they were like, oh, wait, that wasn't an error. It was actually a hit. And so going into the beginning of the 8th inning, they changed his no-hitter to a one-hitter. And that's just like, whatever. They still won the game. He still had a fantastic outing. But, like, I would be pissed. And I understand, like, a lot of people were pretty upset with that. For me, as long as it's not a statistic or something, like if you change something that happened earlier in the game, as long as it's not going to affect the outcome of the game, no big deal. An error to a hit, no big deal. Either way, the person's on base, right? But, as a pitcher, I don't know. What were you like when you heard about it? Were you like, what? Or, was it like, oh, this happens?
Oh, this happens. But the one that struck me last week, and it was not a thing against what Free did. That's amazing. But did you see uh LA De La Cruz's snag last week?
Yes.
Oh
Dude,
man. He did it twice. And I'm not talking about that fucking 500 fucking yard sprint with the backwards catch. I'm talking about when he was sitting there at shortstop and he dove. He literally dove to get that midair fucking grab. Like
dude,
that's insane.
he hasn't been like, and defensively, he's been fantastic. Overall, he hasn't been what I expect of him, I don't think yet, but
No.
like, he's super exciting to watch.
But
He's
that's
must
Terry
see TV.
Francona. It's Terry Francona churning the Reds around, and there's probably not a lot of Red fans out there, and the Reds have been, for our generation, the Reds have always been historically bad.
Yeah.
Like we're talking about Pete Rose was the last time the Reds were even decent. Kind of idea.
Yeah, the
So
Reds of the 70s were a thing, big thing.
yeah, yeah. So now to see the Reds kind of competing, I mean, look, they pistol whipped friggin' the Orioles last week, 24-2.
Dude, that game was pretty crazy actually. 20, like I saw the score and I was like,
Yeah,
what?
24-2. So I
It's
was
a
like,
football.
I had to look at it twice. I'm like, the Reds scored 24. Like,
Dude,
ugh.
they're starting to become an exciting team to watch. And I mean, it's early in the
That's
season, right?
that's what I'm
They're
saying. They got Terry Francona because his mind is insane, and he's going to change that organization.
yeah, he's one of the greatest coaches of our time. There's no question about that. As a Yankees fan, I obviously don't love the guy. Hey guys. Just waving at my wife and my daughter.
Yeah, but you're on Terry Francona when he was a Red Sox coach. That's what you're
dude,
going on about.
and like he was a problem. His teams were a
Yeah,
problem. You know what I mean? Like there's no two ways about it. I'm extremely familiar with his coaching style. And like even though I'm not a fan of him from that perspective, from like a pure baseball perspective, I was super excited for the Reds to see that they had signed him. I think
I'm
that
just
he's going to make a winning franchise there again.
I'm just surprised that he didn't do what he did with Boston, and I mean that Boston team in the early 2000s was amazing. But I was surprised that he didn't get Cleveland further. Like, I'm really surprised.
Yeah, I am and I'm not, but I don't know that I don't put that on him. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like Cleveland is I don't and Cleveland's good. Don't get me wrong. Like I don't want to sound like a Cleveland hater, right? You know, you want to say hi, Fifi? So my daughter wanted to make a quick appearance. Say hi, girlfriend. She's a Yankees fan too.
Oh.
Look, that's you. Look, can you see yourself on TV? This is my little girl for everybody who hasn't seen her pictures on my socials all the time. No, you should leave the pen alone. But as I was saying, I to me, it's partially organizational, but I feel like Cleveland should have got out of that series with the Yankees last year, but pitching kind of fell off for them at the wrong times.
Come on. Come on, Penelope.
Is that a dog?
Yeah.
See,
yeah, she's
guys,
got
we
two
have
dogs.
regular lives too. He's taking the dog out. But yeah, so that was
Come on,
my
Penelope.
pick. Like, what's their closer's name?
Get your sister.
Get your sister. What's the closer's name? Really good, but fell off during the playoffs last year on Cleveland.
Clase?
Clase, yeah, right. Like, bro, the way that he finished out the season or that series, like, I mean, he kind of handed it to us. You know what I mean? I can't blame Terry Francona for your ace closer coming in and getting cooked.
Oh man, you might stump on it too. Who is that closer? I forget. He's played everywhere. He's played in Boston. He's played in New York. He's played everywhere. I think he was in LA last year. Like, he's a closer, but every time, like, the last few years, like, he was on point, but now every time he's in, like, the closing, he's blowing games, like, every time.
Okay, bye, baby girl. I know who you're talking about, and it's not coming to me.
Yeah, no, that's what I was trying to think of it. I was like, man, what's his name? But I forget. Watch it will pop in my head like later on and be like, oh my god, it's him.
That's
But he's
usually
played
what
on
happens.
multiple teams, and he used to be the most dominant closer. But now, as soon as he's pitching, it's like everybody's pimping his fastballs and everything because he's not closing out like he used to. Like, people now have discovered him and go, yeah, he used to be good, but now we can just get him every time. And he's cost so many teams like series because he's not been able to close. I just can't think of his name at the moment. And he was like one of the top closers for years.
Dude, I feel like you just threw a question out there and stumped me live. I feel like I should know it. When you said closer for the Yankees, in my mind, I was like Weaver.
Yeah, Weaver. Right. He was in LA. I think he's even probably he's been everywhere now. Like, just because he's been blowing series like crazy. I think
Who does he play for now?
I think it was LA. I think the Dodgers, but I don't think he's closing now because he blows games all the time. But I know he was a Yankee. I know he's a Red Sox. He's been, I think, at least 6 or 7 teams for sure. He's a black guy. I just can't think of his name. Jensen.
Okay.
Kenley Jensen. Yes. Kenley Jensen. I had to think of his name. Remember, I was at pop in my head. Kenley Jensen, like, that man has used to be the man. But now it's like, but this is what happens.
A little bit.
But that's why I was bringing his name up, because Clase used to be that guy, but now Clase, I think people have caught up to him that they know what he's going to throw. Like, his mechanics, I think he has to change something, because it's not tipping pitches, but it's close enough to tipping pitches because everybody knows what he's going to throw. So they know his locations.
At that stage in the game to really change your mechanics. Like, that's how a lot of pitchers get injured or become ineffective, right? So he's in a tough spot right now.
But that's what I mean with Class A. It's just like I think everybody can tell what he's going to do and how he's going to throw and how to get into his head. I think he's. I don't think he's got to change his full mechanics, but he's got to change something up so he can throw him off a little bit.
Yeah, that does make sense. Boom. There you
But
go.
this one, and then this was just a random thought that popped in my head tonight because we have the pitch count, right? And this will make you laugh. Could you imagine Nomar Garcia Parra trying to bat with the pitch count?
Oh, dude. Garcia Paro was like, he was brutal to watch.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Oh,
saying. Could you
obviously, I'm
imagine
a Yankees fan,
Garcia?
so like I watched
But
that
that
guy
load
forever.
up, the load up on the hands,
Oh,
like what
dude,
he had to do every time. I don't think Garcia Parra could play in today's generation. He was a
absolute
phenomenal
nightmare.
hitter, but
Absolute nightmare.
he couldn't see. There's no way Garcia Parra could be get ready for a 15-second pitch count. There's no way. He takes 15 seconds just adjusting his gloves. I was just thinking it the other day because I was talking to Candace about that, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta show you old clips of Garcia Parra because you think 15 seconds is a long time. Now, let's get Garcia Parra up the bat and see how long 15 seconds is."
For sure, for sure. All right. Well, listen, we've got, I don't know, another 100 some odd baseball games this season and a lot of weeks that we're going to be talking about this baseball stuff, guys. So it is that time. Tomorrow is the long awaited NFL draft. And so Cove and I both went ahead and we put together not our full mock drafts, but Cove's got his top 10 right here. And I'm going to list it off for you guys because my guy doesn't have everything in front of him at the moment. And then we're going to go through my top 10 as well. And I noticed a few trade ups here when I'm looking at yours. So I'm going to grill you with some questions. So be ready. Because the long-awaited guys and the 2025 NFL Draft, my guy Cove here has, as everybody I think does at this point, the Tennessee Titans taking Cam Ward at quarterback from Miami. Listen, that one's it's kind of a whatever one, right? Like everyone thinks that at this point it would be a shock to not see him go number one. Now this one threw me right here a little bit. So, pick,
with
right?
Arizona trading with Cleveland,
dude. So if you guys, Cove has the Arizona Cardinals trading up to the number 2 pick to take Travis Hunter, which we all expect Travis to go too. But why do you think that the Arizona Cardinals or let me say, why do you think the Browns are going to give it up?
I just because the Browns and Giants have been talking about trading up, and realistically see the Browns trading up. I just do. I just see the Browns making that trade because for years they've picked their number 1 picks. They've went with it and it hasn't panned out. So I think like to change the dynamics in Cleveland is to trade up to number 2, get something they need, and and Arizona needs something because I think they want Travis Hunter to go over with Harrison. So
Now, you're a baseball guy, so I'm going to throw this at you. So last week, I think on Friday, Andrew Berry, the GM for the Cleveland Browns, compared Travis Hunter to Shohei Ohtani.
yeah.
You think that he would compare him to Ohtani and then give up that spot and not take him himself?
Yeah.
Dude, I don't know.
I know that's a bold prediction. It will probably be Travis Hunter going to Cleveland, but I don't know if Travis Hunter wants to go to Cleveland. That's the thing. Like I'm thinking more like an Eli trade where Travis Hunter knows he's going to go somewheres, and I think that's why I'm saying Arizona because I think Arizona can pull him in. Harrison can be the sway to come over and play with Harrison, and I just don't think he wants to play in Cleveland. So he's going to say, Cleveland trade me because I don't want to play in Cleveland. And I have no prediction on how big the trade would be, but Arizona would obviously, if he wants him that bad, Arizona's going to have to give up something good to get him.
Travis Hunter is a two-way player
Yeah,
and considered a term that I hate, but he is considered a quote generational
that's what I'm
talent.
saying. I
Right?
believe Arizona's got enough stock or enough trade pull to get him in there. That's why I picked Arizona. The
Arizona
reality is
would
probably
probably
going to Browns, but
they
Arizona,
would
I
probably
think,
have
will
to
have.
give up 2 first-round picks, like one this year, next year. I don't know, but that would be a brutal move. It's not impossible. I've heard
Yeah,
that while nothing has happened yet, I've heard that there have been like a lot of phone calls between
yeah.
GMs and management. So we'll see what happens. So moving on to number 3. And this one, a lot of people do have, but it's still a gray area because of the recent Shador Sanders workout by the New York Football Giants. So Cove has the Giants taking Abdul Carter, another considered generational talent, somebody that a lot of people, I've heard defensive linemen, that have won Super Bowls in the NFL say they would not be surprised to see him wearing a gold jacket one day.
Mm.
I think that would be a fantastic pick for the Giants. I'm going with my man Chris Canny's slogan, awful for Arch, right? So we've got Russell Wilson and we've got Jameis Winston. I love both, but I don't expect to see much out of those guys. And there's still a possibility, though, on the board that they take Shador Sanders. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Then, okay, now moving to number 4, I see another trade up here. So we got the Chicago Bears trading up with the New England Patriots so they can take defensive tackle from Michigan, Mason Graham. Mason Graham's awesome. That's a great
Yeah.
choice. It's an interesting one. Was there a specific, like, when you saw
Because
that,
you know they ain't going offense. They never really look what happened with Chicago. You know they got who they got. They traded up. They literally traded around and threw guys away just to have that awful season. And that's what happens is they go, where's the offense? They always pick defense. They're gonna go defense again because they want that nasty Bears defense to help him out. So I believe the Bears are going to go after defenseman. He's the defenseman to go for, and that's why I think the Bears will trade up to get him. They'll pull something. New England's in a rebuild mode too, so I think New England, who I have them going to after later on, is what New England wants, and they believe they can get him there for cheaper.
So, okay, so at number 1, I've also got Tennessee Titans taking Cam Ward. I think most people do. At number 2, I have the Cleveland Browns staying, but drafting Travis Hunter as well. At number 3, I'm also on board with Cove, and I have the New York Giants pegged for Abdul Carter, mainly because the Giants are really unsure. We haven't even decided whether or not that they're going to exercise the option and go ahead and keep Thibodeau, Kayvon Thibodeau. So I do see Abdul Carter becoming a Giant, but there's a side of me that says like we may shock people because our coaching staff, Brian Dable and our GM Joe Shane, those guys are on the hot seat, and there's a chance that they draft a quarterback just to give themselves an extended lease on life. Now at number 4, the big difference, I actually had New England sticking, and I had New England fortifying their offensive line with offensive tackle from Missouri, Armand Membu. So that was what I had at my 4. Now, at number 5, I think at number 5, we are the same. So both of us have Ted McMillan going to Jacksonville, the wide receiver from Arizona. I think that would be a great move for them, to give a weapon to what's this guy's name? Can't believe I'm forgetting his name now. I just had the sickest brain fart ever.
Yeah,
The Clemson quarterback, the long-haired kid. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name.
Trevor
Jags.
Lawrence.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. I'm thinking of like 30 other names, and I forgot the name Trevor Lawrence. But I think he definitely does need more weapons. And Ted's, he looks like a great receiver. So I think that would be an awesome pick. I kind of feel like he could also go a little bit later in the draft, but if Jacksonville sticks at that number 5 spot, that's who I think they take also, McMillan. So number 6, you've got another trade up going on here. And you got the Atlanta Falcons moving up to the 6th slot to take Will Johnson, cornerback from Michigan. So you think that the Raiders would move out of that position?
Yeah.
Now,
I just have a feeling they'll trade up because I think like a lot of these trades, I think there's going to be key pieces in them. I'm not sure what they're really going to give up in an actual prediction, but I mean to trade up, they're going to have to give away something, and I think they have something. That's it's a lot of these. If you notice over the years, a lot of these trades, like they they move it a certain way. It's like they make these picks because there's a player they think they can get later. Because I know for NFL, it's like the higher the pick, like especially top 10, you're paying so much. So if they trade away, they're going to pay less and get the same kind of talent.
yeah, I mean, obviously,
Sometimes it's a budget. Sometimes these trades are budget issues to shave off certain things.
yeah, I can see why you would say that. So at number 6, I have I was about to call them the Oakland Raiders. I live in Las Vegas. That's
Yeah, you
crazy.
lose it.
The Las Vegas Raiders, I have them sticking, and I truly believe that they're going to go ahead and they're going to draft Ashton Genty from Boise.
Yeah,
Ashton is day one, ready to roll. Like, he is going to be a beast, and I feel like he will fit really well with a Pete Carroll offense. And they just
yeah.
extended Geno Smith. So to me, it just kind of makes sense that they would go ahead and add that running back piece.
Yeah.
Don't mind Cove, guys. He's just handling some dogs over there. Number 7. So number 7, and this is actually interesting. So number 7, you have the same pick that I had at 6, but you have the Las Vegas Raiders at 7 taking Ashton Kenny.
Yes.
I think that's a great pick for them. At 7, I have, and this one, I like this one a lot actually for them. We'll see. But I have the New York Jets drafting Mason Graham, defensive tackle from Michigan, in that 7 slot. That's what I think is going to happen. We'll see. And our number 8, and this is okay. So this was another interesting one. I like this one. Another trade up. The Washington Commanders trading up to get Malachi Starks.
Inside. I had to treat them to get him in.
Now, that's a good. Okay, so what were your thoughts? Like Malachi Starks from Georgia, right? What made you think? I mean, he's a good safety.
I was reading a lot of mock drafts. I don't know the player that well, but I was just reading a lot of mock drafts, and a lot of them I have found to saying that Washington was going after this player. So that's just where my thought process was. I was seeing a lot of teams wanting him, but also that the Commanders wanted them too on a lot of mock drafts.
Dude, he would be a great piece for that team, no question about it. I got no arguments with you there. So at number 8, I left Carolina right where they were, and I had Carolina, and this was an interesting one for me, but a guy that I really like. I had them drafting Tyler Warren, the tight end from Penn State University. I think Tyler might be the only tight end to go in the first round. But he's a really solid player. He would be an excellent piece both on blocking and on passing side of things for Bryce Young. That was my pick in the 8th position. Number 9, we both had the same pick here. And so number 9, we both chose the New Orleans Saints to take Shedeur Sanders. I love that move.
I mean, a lot of same things. I was looking at mock drafts when I looked at the other picks I made, but a lot of people have Shedeur going 13, like a low teen. But I'm giving Shedeur the benefit of the doubt to be still a top 10 pick because you're still gonna want. The thing is his interviews were horrible. Yes, and he made himself look like a complete idiot. I still think he's going to be a bust, but I think he's going to be a bust if he goes in the top 5. Maybe in the top 10 he won't be a bust, but you're also buying Dion.
Well,
I
here,
hate to say
so
it, but the kid they're retiring this kid's number after 12 wins in 2 seasons in Colorado. Like they're glorifying this kid way too much, and it's getting into his head. But I believe New Orleans is the kind of organization that can straighten him out because this is more of a dig at Dion. Dion's gonna be too busy being Dion in New Orleans, so he's not gonna pay attention to his kid as much.
I don't. Okay, first, I think that the hate on primetime and his son Shador to me is crazy.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of people are not looking at his football acumen, his accuracy as a passer, his IQ on the field. I think he's an excellent quarterback, and I think he's going to do well wherever he plays. But I feel like he's getting labeled, right, because he's Dion. He's one of the greatest athletes of all times, child.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And so he's heavily celebritized, and a lot of people aren't sure. Like, does this come with Dion? What does this mean? There's
I know. I'm just saying for
hate.
teams, like my opinion from watching it, teams. I'm not going to knock down Dion. I love Dion as a kid. Loved him as a Niner. Loved him as a Cowboy. Even when he went back to back on both teams, and I saw him as a Brave growing up. So he is a phenomenal talent. Don't get me wrong, but I just think for the kid, I'm using football IQ. I'm not knocking his IQ. I'm saying if you have to separate Dion from Shador in the NFL for Shador to show up. But if Dion's in his head, it's going to distract him. So I'm saying bring him to New Orleans and distract Dion because Dion is a show. That's why he's prime time. He wants an area where
he's a tremendous father, and he's a fantastic role model. I feel exactly. To me, I feel the way that you and the way a lot of people have talked about these guys, I feel the exact opposite. I think Dion. I think Dion is exactly what he needs. I really like Shador Sanders. I'm okay with him not being a Giant. I'm okay with him being a Giant. I'm not going to go either way on it. But I think that he's going to surprise a lot of people in the NFL. I'm pretty excited for him. All right. And so the number 10 pick, I believe you had another trade going up there. And I like this one. You had Jalen Walker from Georgia getting drafted by the Minnesota Vikings. Now, the Minnesota Vikings already have a staunch defense, and this young man would only add to it. He's not like a traditional linebacker. He's an edge. He's exciting. He's a really dynamic player. He comes out of Georgia's defense, which we know is tough. That's a great idea. I like that one a lot. I'm not sure if Minnesota is going to make a move like that, but I also wouldn't be surprised, and I'll tell you why. Because at number 10, I have the Bears listed, but I have the Bears with a question mark because I feel like the Bears are going to trade that pick to another team who's looking to move up into that top 10. I don't know where they're going with it. But that's kind of we'll see.
You saw where I put the Bears. You saw I moved the Bears. So
I think you had them taking who I forget now, but you had them taking somebody good. I'm going right now. You had them taking Mason Graham. Mason Graham. Okay.
Yeah, moving up from the 10 moving from the 10 to 5 to get Mason Graham.
Listen, I don't think that would be a bad move at all. So we'll see what happens, right? Tomorrow night, guys, for those that are listening in to us, you can check out my boys' Hot Take in Austin, and there's going to be a few other guys on there with them. They're going to be doing a live show for the Sports Podium. They're going to be live during the draft. Now, I have an appointment myself, so there's a good chance that I'm going to miss the draft. I'll actually have it on my phone, but not quite the same. I'd love to be sitting in front of a big screen TV watching it.
I gotta work, so I work at 5 Eastern. So
right when it starts, or no, it starts at 8 Eastern. 8 Eastern, 5.
So I gotta work. So I'm only gonna get highlights. So
listen, it happens to the best of us. But listen, guys, those are our picks for tomorrow night. I saw a little bit of action here on the comments. But you can always tap in on the socials. Let us know what you think, who your teams are drafting. I actually put a post out there earlier today asking people who they expect their teams to draft. And I believe my guy Cove will more than likely have a baseball-centered live going on this weekend as well, right?
Yeah.
So be on the lookout for that. I think it's Cove Blue or Grandpa. Is it Cove Blue? It is. Yeah.
Cove Blue.
So his name changes once in a while, but if you just type Cove in, he'll pop up. I promise you that. So as always, guys, thanks for tuning in here on Vinny's Corner with Cove and myself, and we'll see you guys next week.